like the abortion issue and stuff like that fall on religious basis, and there's clearly enough people buying into that it represents a political force.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
And my thing is, like I said, I grew up super heavy in the church, and somewhere along the way, and it was even after college, it's like something clicked in me. It was something had happened nationally. It wasn't 9/11 because I was like in middle school or high school, but anyway, something happened nationally, and there was like a mega church. And the guy, no, I'm sorry. Well, this was a part of it. The guy, the pastor of the church came out, and it was a lot of homeless people around the church, and he would not allow them to sleep inside the church.
That was the guy in Houston,
in Texas, right?
Yeah, I think it was during the hurricane. Joel Osteen.
Right. And then a second thing was, right, this is when I was heavy in the church. I would call myself religious when these things are happening. And the second thing was I was at my grandmother's house, my Mima's house, and there was this young pastor on the screen. And what happened was he was taking over for his dad, who had, it's this mega church on TV. Old black ladies, they love the church channels and stuff like that. And he was taking over for his dad, right? And we're watching it as it's happening. It's live. And, kind of a pastor torch thing. And he gets on the microphone, and he's now becoming the pastor of the church. This is his first sermon as the pastor of the church. And the very first thing he says is, I am taking away tithes. We don't tithe here at this church anymore. And you can see his dad in the back. He's like, what are you talking about? He's about to get up and go. We don't tithe at this church anymore. He was saying how we have been interpreting, I can't speak today, it wrong the entire time. This is a mega church in California. I wish I had his name and stuff like that. But basically he was saying how the Bible did not say that we should be tithing and putting in 10% of your earnings of every paycheck to tithe to the church. That's all he was saying. Yeah. And everyone got up in arms and things like that. And I don't know why, but in my head it just clicked like, these things are happening. It's like, well, the Bible is some way in wording, people can interpret it in whatever way they want to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of how it is set up. So then I went down this huge rabbit hole. I went to like studying all these different religions and things like that, all the major ones. And basically at the end, when I came down to it, I don't know. That's just it. Yeah. I don't know. Like, don't ask me if I believe in Jesus or if Jesus is real or Buddha or this or that. Are you Muslim or whatever? I just don't know. I wasn't here. And another huge thing that factored in with me as well was slavery, because there is whatever people could say, Google teaches a lot of people and a lot of stuff on Google is wrong, whatever. But there is a huge sentiment or knowledge that slaves or a lot of people in Africa did not study Christianity, right? That just wasn't their thing. Christianity came a part of slavery. And it's like, as they're, beating us and and doing all of this, hanging us and all of this, they're putting Christianity down our throats at the same time. Oh, don't worry, Jesus is coming. I'm going to hang you, but you're going to heaven. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I agree.
Then I thought about that, and it just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree with you completely. I mean, religion is a hugely manipulative tool because it's based on faith and emotion.
Yeah.
And it's not based on fact. And when you have that, you're able to manipulate people. You suspend their belief in fact, and you give them faith. And so they make this leap. And so, again, in connection with slavery, Christianity, I mean, it originated in Europe, and they spread this shit. They went on crusades. And, I mean, more recently, probably within the last 10 years, there was some Christian missionary that went to a remotely island, I think in the South Pacific, with island people who lived in a primitive manner, and this guy felt compelled to spread Christianity to these people. These people have lived for centuries without it. They don't give a damn. Right. And when you approached in your boat, they threw a spear through you and killed your ass.
For real?
Yes. They don't care. They don't need it. There's
Yeah.
this weird superiority. And this is the thing. You get white European people and their Christianity. And it's connected to their sense of superiority.
Yeah.
And that's connected to slavery of African Americans. It's connected to white treatment of people in India and Asia throughout the globe. And it's the sense of superiority. It's the fuel of racism.
Because if you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell, a terrible place.
Exactly.
That's when you die.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I live in a certain way, and that's going to get me to heaven. And if you're not doing that, you're beneath me. That's it's not stated that way, but the implication, the culture of it becomes that.
But
And that's connected to we have this figured out, and we need to spread our Christianity to like lesser people.
Yeah.
And they're not lesser people.
No, they're not.
I mean, that's the joke.
And you can make an argument that it's part of control, the
100%
control
control.
that lesser population.
100% control. And then again, this maybe sensitive topic. I don't know, but I'm gonna just dive into this here. When you're talking about slavery and then religion, like, you know, that fills the insane gap of the mistreatment you're enduring. That somehow there's this heaven
Yeah.
that's gonna make this worthwhile.
That's
That somehow what you suffered here on earth is going to be rewarded in some other place. That's probably bullshit. And what it did is it like,
There's
and
no
I'll
way-
say
there's
this,
no way
it's-
I'm buying that
it's-
in the moment.
It's complicated because I think it was in one hand used as a tool to continue to essentially control or manipulate black people. But I will say this, like in some way on the other side of that, and it's difficult to say because I'm not black, but it weirdly maybe created a salvation to it, a means of surviving and enduring
times.
and enduring insufferable stuff. That somehow being convinced and believing that there is something beyond what I'm enduring now somehow gave a ton of people that were enslaved some reason to continue getting up every day.
That is very true, but also on the flip side of that, we already flipped with 3 flip sides around.
I'm dizzy.
But yeah, on the flip side of that, it could have kept them from uprising.
100%.
Because they do feel salvation and they do feel comfortable in saying, okay, we're enduring this. We're going to, we're singing our Negro spirituals and whatever, we're going to heaven. But instead of that, without that, maybe they uprise, and there's so many of them, they overcome slavery and kill the masters and all that.
And that's why,
Django style.
That's why it's so complicated.
That's why it's
because
complicated.
on the
It is
one hand,
complicated.
it's used by the white people to
Yeah.
oppress, but on the other hand, there is some indication that it created a survival.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, and that's why I kind of personally reject so much of organized religion, because it's so manipulative.
Yeah.
I don't trust it for being what it is.
I think that's the main thing. I don't trust it. And now this is another thing on the grand scheme of things, right? Religion, Christianity, they have some good elements to it. That's the thing. It's not like deeply satanic or whatever. It's like it has some do not steal and do not kill. Like it has some good shit to it. But it's like it's just where it comes from. It's just so deeply rooted. I just don't know. It's like, and I've seen Christianity literally save people, right? I've seen it. People believe in it so much. You know what I mean? I have an uncle who was just a fucking, he was he was a bad guy. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of bad shit. And I saw him go to the system. Now, one argument could be made that it was the system that changed him, but he believes it was religion and Christianity that changed him and changed his ways. And he comes out, he's a totally different person. Now,
on that, I had a discussion today with my staff about Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And like his life, I deeply believe is a uniquely American story, for better or for worse. But when he's in prison, he finds Islam, and when he came out, he went in a guy that was running numbers, stealing cars, doing some shady stuff. He comes out a man who is ready to lead
Yeah.
and inspire, and that's what he did from that point in his life forward. And so there's no doubt that served him. And my view on religion, though, it's not confined to Christianity or whatever. I'm not in favor of any.
No, right.
You know, it's broader than that. I'm not, because I don't want to get into the game where it's like, well, you know, Islam's great, Christianity's bad, Hindu's fantastic, and this other religion's crap. I just think all of it is that, and you're gonna, and there is a school of thought when you talk about, like, you know, again, keeping it broad, like whatever the holy book that you believe in, like some people will take the position that the holy book is pure. And it gives us a guide for life, and it gives us a guide for conduct. And that what happens is when people get involved.
Yeah.
And there's people who like, I'm religious, but I don't go to church.
Yeah.
I'm religious, but I'm not gonna listen to this particular pastor or minister or you know, whatever the religious title is, because it gets convoluted.
Yeah.
You know, at some point they're going to ask me for money. At some point they're going to ask me to do this, that, or the other thing, which benefits them.
Yeah. In a lot of aspects, it may not even be the religion itself. It's the people that are I guess you could say controlling or managing or getting the religion out to other people. That's the issue, and that's the crux of it. Because like you said, the holy books, whatever, within all of these religions, they have good stuff in them and good elements. But the people get in and they kind of twist and turn, and they interpret different things that makes, because nobody could just make, because he made so much sense. It's like how can you think in 2015, 2016, that this means that you give X amount of your paycheck every single week, when the guy, there was no W-2s back, like, what are you guys talking about?
Well, and that makes the perfect point. To me, I haven't researched it that deeply, but the concept of tithes and the 10%, like, that probably dates back to a period of time when you would have small communities based around a church and largely like agricultural areas.
Yeah.
And basically the church was the community focal point, and we each had our little piece of land, or whatever we did, we farmed, somebody owned a little shop, and then that 10% at that point probably went to like public goods, like some sort of education for the children in the community, some sort of maybe medical care or something like that. So essentially that 10% functioned at that time as a contemporary income tax.
No, but sure, we've got
regular income tax.
And you got mega churches who don't pay taxes, who don't even house homeless when there's floods and hurricanes, and goddamn, you know what I mean? They're not doing a lot of stuff for the community like it was back then. Yeah, so it's just a totally different world. But when it comes to money, these churches and these pastors, they're going to try to keep it, to where they can just get the most money that they can, in my opinion. And it ain't all, but it's some.
That's where the